yet another What Do You Think? Brought to you by Abdul in the Bushes and Praxis.
The missing Mecca. If the Prophet of Islam, Muhammad, and his tribe lived at Mecca, then there should be evidence that Mecca existed at least during his lifetime. Mecca apparently was the first human settlement established by Adam, where he built the first Kaaba to worship the god Allah. Mecca is called the mother of all cities, and therefore there should be some sort of historic evidence for the existence of Mecca. All empires, large or small, all civilizations and communities leave evidence of their existence. Like writings, stone carvings, records by enemies, records of trade and contracts, settlements, temples, customs, pottery, jewelry, coins, weapons, tools, grave sites, and the list goes on. But for Mecca, there is no evidence of its existence for some 270 years after the claimed life of Muhammad. Even the Quran has one or two vague references, assumed to be Mecca, without saying where it is. We, in this video, will be looking at maps from the first 700 years AD, up to the supposed life of Muhammad. If Mecca did not exist, then obviously Muhammad is a hoax. Why, if so many great empires and great peoples who were in the same area that Mecca existed, or surrounding Mecca, were able to keep records of their own empires and their own civilizations, why couldn't the Muslims or the Arabs do it? We have an enormous amount of records from the nations of Middle East. We have beautiful written poems from that era as well as the names of the poets. And more importantly, Mecca is this important because this is where Islam began, as well as an empire that stretched from Spain to India. Imagine if there was no documentary or archaeological record of Jerusalem, what ridicule the Jews and Christians would receive. The traditions are very clear that Abraham was there in BC 1900. Muhammad was born in Mecca AD 570, lived there up until AD 632. This is where some of the Quran was revealed, but one cannot find Mecca on any maps for 270 years. Look at the map where the empires were around the imaginary Mecca. No Mecca. If it had existed, it should have had archaeological records for every generation of its history claimed in the traditions since Adam, Abraham, Moses, and others, the history of the ancient cities and nations. Even tiny villages are mentioned in historical records and maps, and trade routes, but no Mecca. And if there's no record of Mecca prior to the writings of the traditions the 8th and 9th and 10th century, the Muslims have got a problem. If Mecca really doesn't exist on any map until the 10th century, then I would suggest that Muslim traditions are in error. Not only that, the Quran is in error because it is assuming that Mecca is there where Muhammad was and where this revelation of the Quran was revealed to him, and where he lived for the first 50 years of his life. In most old world countries, historians and archaeologists have first access to any digging like road works and foundation digging. Except Mecca. You can see the extensive construction of skyscrapers and plazas. Apparently up to 500 prophets are buried around the Kaaba, and apparently Muhammad claimed that prophets who die do not decompose. Imagine the sensation if the whole bodies of prophets were unearthed on the construction sites. The world would convert to Islam. No Mecca means no Muhammad, no Quran, and no traditions. No Islam. No Mecca means no Muhammad, no Quran, and no traditions. No Islam.
Certified, authentic, Honda Draw.